everyone, and welcome to Riggs Creek Farmhouse, and I am Jennifer, and I'm so glad you're here. This is a place where we talk about natural homespun homesteading along the banks of Riggs Creek, and today I am going to talk to you about natural ways of getting more sleep. So I don't know about you guys, but this past year I've had a lot of sleepless nights due to a lot of different things. My body, the environment, and what is happening in the world right now. And I don't know about you guys, but I try to stay away from over-the-counter aids and try to find more natural ways of gaining more sleep in the night. So I'm going to give you the tips that I have been trying and working to incorporate in my nighttime routine. So some of my basic, easy tips that you can incorporate right now is decide first and foremost how much sleep you really need every night to feel rested and energized the next day. That may vary person to person, so you really have to play around with this and decide what is the right amount. For me, it's about 7 to 8.5 hours a night. That just depends on the season of my life. It depends on the time of year, such as winter and summer. It also depends on the changes that are happening in my body right now. So you need to decide that. Also, the number two thing is you need to figure out a good bedtime for you. Just like a child, that goes to bed at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. That may mean to get that sleep, you have to be up at 6 a.m. That might mean for you to get your 7 hours of sleep, you may have to go to bed at between 10 and 11 o'clock at night, depending on how much time it takes you to wind down and fully close your eyes and go into a good sleep. So you'll have to figure that out, what time do I get up in the morning to go to work or start my day, and then rewind from that and then decide, is it going to take me 30 minutes to an hour to wind down each night. The next thing you need to do, these are all simple things. You don't need to go out and run out to the store to get these things. These are things you can do right now. So the third thing is decide or figure out what you're consuming before you go to bed. You don't want anything heavy on your stomach, so you don't want to have a huge pasta meal or a roast. You don't want to have a lot of caffeine before bedtime, a lot of alcohol, cigarettes, things like that. So if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock at night, I advise larger meals to be eaten about 4 hours before bedtime, about 3 to 4 hours, depending on how your digestive system works. And then caffeine, for me, I can't have caffeine after 4 or 5 p.m. because then I won't get a good night rest. So you may decide that you're gonna have a decaf coffee or tea before bed if you want something warm and soothing before bedtime. So that's what I try to do. Now, if I'm going to bed later, I might adjust that. The next thing is you want to make sure that you have a bedtime routine in place. So is that getting your pajamas on at a certain time, cleansing your face, reading a book, lowering the lights in your home, things like that. So you want to create all those things and do all those things before you go out and buy anything or do anything else. Those are my tips right now that you need to do. I have one more tip that I would like you to incorporate too as well is electronics. Make sure you shut down those electronics. I play victim to this all the time. I usually like to play on my phone, on Pinterest right before bedtime. So I have to make sure that is turned off and I set it down and do something else to wind myself down before I fall asleep. My husband usually goes to bed before me, so it's really hard to keep the lights on and read a book or anything like that. So a lot of times I will go into the sitting room and read a book or do something that's calming, like research or something like that that'll calm my brain down, and the lights are lowered, and then I find myself transitioning into my bed pretty well. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is your environment. Is your bedroom that you sleep in, how is it? Is it too hot or too cold? is your windows. You want to make sure your windows have good drapes or good blinds. For me, I don't have any drapes or curtains in my room, but I have like a good blind that if you have to go to bed earlier when the sun lights up, or wake up when the sunlight comes up. So like if you're waking up at 6 a.m. and the sun's already pushing through at 5 a.m., you want good protection in the window so you can keep that light out. There are blackening shades and curtains you can buy if you need that, if you work the graveyard shift, or if you're in an environment where there's a lot of light that may be produced or shine into your home at a certain time. The next thing is you want to invest in good sheets and blankets and pillows. Depending on your environment, again, and season, that may mean in the summer cooler sheets and blankets, and in the winter layers. I like to use layers because sometimes I get warm in the evening instead of just one thick heavy comforter or quilt. So I love the feel and texture of satin, 100% pure satin or some type of satin material for my pillowcases and sheets. That may mean 100% pure cotton for you, or some type of other texture. So that completely depends on you and what you like. I will link in my blog the things that I prefer and I like, so make sure you check that out. I'll put that in the description below this video of the things that I use. So another thing that's great about satin too is it helps with wrinkles and fine lines, your hair, your skin. And then also invest in a good pillow, because if I sleep on a not so good pillow or whatnot, I get migraines from that. So make sure that you have a good pillow, and I will link my pillow in my blog, like I said, that the pillows that I like to use. So make sure you do look into that. Like, check out your environment, do a survey around your room, and decide, you know what, I can improve here, I can improve here, and it's going to help so much with your sleep. And if you're suffering from insomnia, I promise you, if you start doing these tips right now. Okay, so now you're probably saying, okay, Jennifer, I've tried all the things you've tried thus far and none of them have worked. I'm still suffering from not getting enough sleep and insomnia. So you might say, what else I can do? There are other natural things you can do, and these things may help you as well too. One of them is essential oils, and if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'm gonna give you a recipe to make an essential oil roller blend that you can blend on certain parts of your body to help you get more shut-eye. So some of the essential oils I like to incorporate in my home, such as diffusing or using it topically like the roller bottle, is cedar wood. Cedar wood is very great because there's a lot of things in cedar wood to help calm you and relax you. And that's what you want. So I highly recommend diffusing cedar wood at least about 2 hours before bedtime, because it's really going to help calm you and center you and bring you to that calm state to relax before bedtime. Along with that, which we all know, very famous oil called lavender. Lavender does the same, pretty much all the same things as cedar wood. It smells amazing. So if you're really, it's going to help aromatherapy. So you're going to trigger, if you're doing this, diffusing this, or putting it on a roller bottle in your roller bottle recipe about 2 hours before bed, the aromatherapy is going to trigger your brain to tell you it's time to wind down, to calm your heart, calm your brain and body and soul, and prepare you for a great night, good quality sleep at night. So lavender is another oil. Now, if you're still finding trouble with these two oils and you're like, I'm still not getting enough shut-eye, there are two other oils that you can use. Jasmine is another one. Jasmine is such a great oil. It's beautiful. It's a little bit more pricier than lavender, but I do love using jasmine. Great, because if lavender doesn't work for you, jasmine will work for you. Lavender is one of those oils that really doesn't work for me. It doesn't really calm, relax, or soothe me, but it does make me feel happy, and it makes me feel center, lavender. But jasmine also, it actually calms me down more. So diffusing or using these two oils topically do help myself, but You can always, go back and forth, try the lavender for a couple of weeks and then go to the jasmine, and that's going to help you to decide which oil is better. Now the last oil that I'm going to talk about is chamomile. Now there's a couple different chamomiles. There's German and Roman, so depending on which one that works well with your body. Chamomile is the best way to describe as a sedative. It is like a sleeping pill, a sleeping aid. It helps you get that deep sleep that you desire and need, those great restful moments at night. And chamomile is, you've heard of drinking chamomile tea, which is also great to incorporate in your bedtime routine. But chamomile diffusing it does just as well. For me, I don't like to drink a lot of teas before bedtime because I have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the bedtime. So it kind of is one of those things I try to avoid too close to bedtime. But if I sip on chamomile tea earlier in the evening and then diffuse this closer to bedtime, it works out real well for me. So those are the oils I want you to start incorporating right now. If you need additional help, one more thing I want to say about chamomile. Now the difference between, they're both going to create a peaceful environment, but I know a lot of parents use Roman chamomile in nurseries because it does help. It seems to help a little bit more with children's sleep, because a lot of the products that we're finding have lavender in it, so a lot of the children are getting pretty immune to it. So that Roman chamomile is something that you can incorporate in nurseries or in your child's bedroom. So now, last but not least, I want to talk about the food you eat. So a lot of times, I don't know if you guys are like me, but I usually like to have a nighttime snack before I go to bed. And sometimes we choose foods that aren't going to be beneficial for us to get that good night's sleep. So you want to avoid, like I said, you want to avoid heavy foods, and you want to avoid foods that are going to trigger you to have insomnia or sleepless night. So I found 3 foods that have been extremely helpful. They just have great things in them to help you if you want that, a little bit of food before bed or that snack before bed. One of them is a good old-fashioned banana. Bananas are great. We all know they're rich in potassium, but they're light and they give you that little snack, that little sweetness that you might be craving, and they're perfect right before bedtime. So I mentioned potassium, but bananas also have magnesium, which a lot of Americans, a lot of people all over the world they don't have a lot of magnesium in their bodies. So if you don't have enough magnesium, there's no way you're going to get a good night's rest. So bananas do contain magnesium, which is great for that good night rest. It calms those muscles down, it rejuvenates those muscles, and gives them that sleep and rest that they need. Okay, so the next thing is white cheddar. And the reason white cheddar is so important because it has an ingredient, so there's an ingredient in white cheddar cheese that's called tryptophan. I think I'm pronouncing it right. White cheddar, especially white cheddar, is important because that tryptophan, if I'm saying it right, is helpful in relaxing the body to get enough sleep. It calms it down, and it's a perfect snack. I wouldn't eat a whole bar of cheddar cheese, but just a little bit will help because it has such a great ingredient in it. The next is walnuts. Walnuts are great because it has a healthy version or a natural version of melatonin. And we all know what melatonin is. You can take that to get a restful night, but melatonin is found in walnuts. So if you like walnuts, I know there's different seasoned walnuts out there that you can get and snack on before bedtime. A handful of those won't hurt you, and they actually will help you get a restful night. So I would try to avoid walnuts that are very spicy because that might react in your gut a little bit funny before bedtime, but these are great right before bedtime. So those are all of my tips and tricks to help you get a restful, sleep-filled night. So I hope you try some of these tips and tricks, and if you do, let me know in the comments below. But right now we are going to try to make that roller bottle recipe, and you can put that right on your bedside table. You can put it right behind your ears and down your back. Even on your wrist is nice, and even the lower part of the back and the bottoms of your feet especially. So we are going to go ahead and turn this camera around and make that right now. Okay, so to make this Sleep Tight roller bottle blend, you are going to need roller bottles, and I just picked mine up from Amazon, and I'll link those in the blog post that will be attached below in the description. You're going to need lavender essential oil, cedar wood, and a carrier oil. I am using almond oil, but you can use anything. So if you're allergic to almonds, you can use grapeseed oil, you can use coconut oil, you can use even olive oil. Then you'll need to label it, because if you're like me and I use a lot of natural things, you're going to want to have a label on that so you're not confusing it with other roller bottle blends and recipes. So I will have this printable link below too, so if you don't want to make your own, you can just simply click on the link down below or copy and paste the link, and then you can get this this roller bottle recipe, or recipe printable. So what I'm going to do here, and you're going to print this on some type of sticker paper. So I'm using white sticker paper. You can use clear, any color you want, get as fancy as you want. So all I'm doing is taking a pair of scissors, some sharp scissors, and cutting around the little rectangle so I can get ready to peel it and place it on my clean roller bottle. Now you can, if your roller bottle isn't prepped to keep the sticker on, you're going to want to clean it with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. So you're going to take your rubbing alcohol, take a little cotton swab or something like, or swab, cotton ball or cotton pad, and just clean your roller bottles just like this. And then once they dry, it just makes the stickers go on much better, and they stay on a lot longer and they won't peel. So I recommend that, and you can always gift these too. So it's always nice to make sure they stay on when you give it to whoever you're going to give it to. So that's what I'm doing here. And then once they're dry, I'm going to peel off the labels and place them on the roller bottle, and then we'll get ready to put our ingredients inside. Okay, as you can see, we have our labels on. I'm just smoothing them out to make sure they're on there properly. I like to do this beforehand because the oils sometimes get on the outside and it just makes a slippery mess. So the next thing is we are going to add our essential oils. So we're going to add about 10 drops of lavender and about 8 drops of our cedar wood. And I apologize because the camera angle is right where I'm putting the oils in. 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm left-handed. Okay, so we got 10 in there. I'm going to do it this way. Try 2. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to add our cedar wood and then top it with our carrier oil. Roller bottles that I got from Amazon did come with a little funnel, so you want to make sure you use that when you do the carrier oil, or you're going to have oil all over your bottle and it'll make your label ugly. And if you want to gift it, that could be a problem, right? So we want to make sure that we don't over pour in our bottle. Okay, now that's done, you're going to go ahead and remove the funnel, and you're going to go ahead and put your roller top on and put the cap on. These I find to be a little tricky because you got to put a little oomph into it without cracking your fingers. And then go ahead and put your cap on carefully and give it a good shake. And like I said, you're going to place this on the bottoms of your feet, behind your neck and temples, and you're going to do this about, I would say, about an hour before bedtime. And like I said, you can give these as a nice gift. They smell amazing and they're beautiful. So I'm so glad you guys stuck around to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you can incorporate some of the tips and tricks that I talked about today. It's obviously already dark outside, and I'm getting ready to incorporate some of these tips and tricks right now into my bedtime routine. If you want more natural, simple, from scratch, homemade things to incorporate into your home, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I try to post about 2 times a week, anywhere from homegrown recipes, from scratch recipes, natural cleaning, natural beauty, natural health, you name it. We are doing it here on the farm. I hope you guys have a great evening, and I'll talk to you soon. So long.